June 16, 1944, a 14-year-old boy sat in an adult-sized electric chair and never walked out alive. His name was George Stinney Jr., the youngest person ever executed in the United States during the 20th century, and he was innocent. There was no real trial, no defense lawyer, no evidence, just a scared black child and a town that needed someone to blame. This is the real story they tried to erase, one of racial injustice, silence, and a system that failed the child. But 70 years later, something happened, and when the truth finally came out, it shocked the entire country. Before we dive in, you need to understand what really happened in untold, South Carolina, in the spring of 1944. untold, South Carolina, a small mill town divided by more than just railroad tracks. One side lived the white families close to the schools and shops. On the other side, black families working long hours for barely any pay. George lived on the black side with his parents and siblings. He was quiet, smart, kind, but in this town, skin color meant everything. On March 23rd, 1944, two white girls, Betty June Binnicker and Mary Emma Thames, were reported missing. They were last seen riding bicycles near the railroad tracks. That same day, George and his sister had passed them on the road. The next morning, both girls were found, their bodies placed in a shallow ditch, bruised and lifeless. Before noon, the police had a suspect, not an adult, not a witness, but a 14-year-old black boy, George Stinney Jr. He was questioned alone, without a lawyer or even his parents' presence. Hours later, they claimed he confessed, but no written statement, no audio, and no proof. They say George confessed, but no one ever saw the confession. No signature, no tape, no witness, just the word of two white officers in Jim Crow, South Carolina. Within days, he was charged with double murder. His family was forced to flee town after threats from angry white mobs. George was left alone in a jail cell. He was given a defense lawyer who barely asked any questions. Jury, all right. Trial, 1 day. Defense, week. Witnesses, none. This wasn't justice. It was a setup. The trial lasted less than 3 hours. The jury took just 10 minutes to decide. Guilty, no mercy, no chance of appeal. A child was about to die. George weighed about just 95 pounds. He was so small they had to stack books on the electric chair just to reach the electrodes. On June 16, 1944, 81 days after the girls died, George Stinney Jr. was executed. He cried, he denied it, he begged for his mother. No real evidence, no real trial, just a fast-track execution in the Jim Crow South, a system built to silence the innocent. It will take 70 years for the world to see and say what should have been said that day. George Stinney Jr. was innocent.
Junior, y'all, he could barely even fit in the chair they put him in to execute him.
For 70 years, George Stinney Jr.'s name was buried, not just in the ground, but in silence, forgotten by the courts, the press, and the country that killed him. But the truth doesn't die easy. In 2014, a South Carolina judge reopened the case. This time, George had lawyers, he had the people, he had the truth. They proved what everyone already knew. The confession was fake, the trial was illegal. George Stinney Jr. had been murdered by the state. The judge overturned the conviction, 70 years too late, but it mattered because this time the world was watching. People cried, people got angry, and people remembered. George wasn't just a name anymore. He was a symbol, a warning. A 14-year-old boy was executed with no evidence, no justice, no defense, and it happened in America. George's case is now taught in schools. He's in documentaries, murals, podcasts, and even movies. His story didn't end up in 1944. It started a fire. This isn't just Black history. This isn't just American history. This is a warning shot to every system that kills before it listens, and to every generation that dares to forget. We still remember George Stinney Jr. George Stinney Jr. wasn't just failed by a courtroom. He was failed by a country, one built on silence, fear, and a justice system that spelled justice wrong. 14 years old today are playing video games, streaming TikTok, dreaming big. George never had that chance because the town needed a scapegoat and the system gave them a charge. So what do we do now? Do we move on, or do we face the mirror and see that 1944 was not so long ago? Every time we forget George, we give the system permission to do it again to someone else. But here's the truth. You watch this, you now know. That means you already started the change, and change is contagious. George Stinney Jr. was erased by history, but the internet remembers. We remember, and we refuse to let silence win again. This video isn't about the past. It's a message to the future, because if a system can kill a boy in 1944 and wait 70 years to admit it, then the next George is already out there. Share this story, comment his name, make noise, because silence is how they win. To George Stinney Jr., we saw it, we weren't there when you needed us, but we are here now, and the world is listening. One boy, one lie, one electric chair, and a legacy they couldn't kill. This is George Stinney Jr. Remember the name.